Today we are going to be going over our Week 10 predictions for the 2024 NFL season. As always, before we get into the video, make sure you subscribe. Helps the channel a lot and it allows you to not miss more amazing content over here at Couch Casual. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Before we get into the actual predictions, let's look at last week where we actually did very well. 13-1 was our record from last week, bringing us up to a total of 92-46. So let's hope we can keep that momentum going here in Week 10. First game is the Thursday night game. I think this could be a very good game. It was very good the last time these two teams played, with the Ravens losing in overtime to the Bengals 38-41. Or no, the Ravens won that game. Sorry. The Bengals should have won that game. Going to this one, Ravens are 6-3, Bengals 4-5. Ravens 6-point favorites in this one. Of course, the Ravens are probably a top 3 team in football, if not top 4. Depends on who you have, either them or the Bills. I do think the Ravens end up winning this game. I do think it's going to be closer than 6 points, however. And I do think it will be a pretty high-scoring game, like the last one. And I have the Ravens winning this one 32-28 over the Bengals. I just think that I know the Bengals defense has improved slightly from the terrible start they had, but I just don't think they'll be able to stop Derrick Henry. I mean, not many people can. And I also think guys like Zay Flowers and Deontay Johnson can have good games as well. And I think the Ravens offense will just be too much for the Bengals, and they win this one, but by barely. Next game is the Germany game between the 2-7 Panthers and the 2-7 Giants. Panthers are 6.5-point underdogs in this game. Bryce Young does get the start after his and the Panthers win over the Saints last week. I think this could also be a high-scoring game, as these are two of the worst. Well, the Giants actually are pretty good defense. Their run defense is just bad, but the Panthers' defense is obviously terrible. The Giants' offense is actually the worst in the league, and the Panthers' defense is the worst in the league. So we'll see what gives out here. And honestly, I do not really know where to go with this game, but I actually have the Panthers getting the upset of the week, which I predicted last week, and they did. I'm going Panthers 24-20 over the Giants in Germany. I just think the Panthers will be able to run the ball against the Giants. Obviously, the same thing can be said about the Giants' offense. I just think that'll open up. I think I just trust the Panthers passing a little bit more than the Giants passing. I don't know. They're pretty similar, to be honest. And I just think they'll get the slight edge over the Giants. But I could see this going either way. Next game, Patriots. The 2-7 Patriots traveling to take on the 4-4 Bears. Bears are 6.5-point favorites in this game, coming off of a tough loss to the Cardinals where they just didn't look that good. However, the Bears' wins have come against not the best teams. That seems to be when they really perform, obviously, like most teams. Patriots, although Drake May has shown great flashes throughout the season, overall the team is just not that great. I think this will be a low-scoring game, and I just think the Bears' defense is just going to be too much for Drake May, and I think that Caleb Williams and the Bears' offense can do just enough, and I have the Bears winning 20-17 over the Patriots. Next, we have Bills. The 7-2 Bills taking on the 4-5 Colts. Bills 4-point favorites in this one. In that conversation, at the top 3 team in football, Colts are about as average as you can get. Offense slightly below average, defense slightly above average. Their defense was terrible to start the year, but it's picked up at least scoring wise. Like, they don't allow that many points. However, I just think this Bills offense will be too much for them, and I don't think Joe Flacco will be able to put enough points against a pretty good Bills defense. I do have them playing a little bit better than they did against the Vikings. Maybe some of these come in late, garbage time touchdowns. But I have the Bills winning 28-20 over the Colts. Next game is the 6-2 Vikings taking on the 2-7 Jaguars. The Jags are 4.5-point underdogs in this one. This is actually, honestly, a tough one because I do like to pick upsets, and that would get me to lean maybe Jacksonville here because the Vikings haven't looked. They've looked good, obviously, but they haven't quite looked how they did at the beginning of the season. Like they were dominant at the beginning. Now they're just, I think, winning good close games. And the Jags offense is actually sneaky good this year. Trevor Lawrence is definitely improving over the course of the season. If Brian Thomas plays, I definitely like the Jaguars' chances of pulling off this upset. And I like to have some wild picks in there because not every favorite's going to win. So I'm actually going to go Jags 27-24 over the Vikings. Based on the spread, the Panthers win is more of an upset, even though the Vikings are much better than the Giants. So that's why the Panthers game is the upset of the week. But I'm going with another upset here, Jags over Vikings. Next game is Broncos Chiefs. Chiefs, of course, still undefeated. Broncos 5-4. Chiefs 8.5-point favorites. Broncos coming in to a blowout loss to the Ravens, while the Chiefs won their game on Monday night versus the Bucs in overtime. The Chiefs' offense is definitely picking up. DeAndre Hopkins looked great. Travis Kelce is slowly playing like Travis Kelce again. Mahomes finally didn't throw a pick in a game. And then their defense is still great. I do think this will be a close game, as all Chiefs games seem to be close. But I do think the Chiefs win this one, especially with Pat Mahomes' history versus the AFC West. I got the Chiefs winning. Again, a close one, relatively close, because their games are close. But I got Chiefs 23-17 over the Broncos. Next game is Falcons. 6-3 Falcons taking on the 2-7 Saints, who obviously just recently fired their head coach after their loss to the Panthers. Falcons 3.5-point favorites, which surprised me. Because honestly, I think the Falcons confidently win this game. Like, I don't think many people are going to pick the Saints, especially after losing to the Panthers. The Saints' offense did not look very good. They failed to convert in the red zone multiple times. Their defense hasn't looked good. They obviously just traded away Marshawn Lattimore, who's been hurt. And the Falcons' offense has been one of the better ones, especially on certain times, certain games. Kirk Cousins just looks like one of the best quarterbacks in football, and it seems to happen against the NFC South a lot. Because last time these two teams played, Falcons ended up winning 26-24. I think that happens again. I think they get their second sweep of the division, and I have them winning 28-21 over the Saints. I do think the Saints can put up a decent amount of points because the Falcons' defense hasn't been the best, but I think the Falcons' offense will just be too much, and they end up winning this one by a touchdown. Now we have Niners Buccaneers. Niners 4-4, Bucks 4-5. Very surprised by these two records. Obviously, when you look at both teams' injuries, maybe not so much, but definitely wouldn't think these teams would be 500 and below 500 respectfully. But the Niners come in this game 6-point favorites. Obviously, they are expected to get Christian McCaffrey back, which obviously gives them a boost to their offense. I think this will be a high-scoring game as the Bucs defense has not been good this year. Niners has been about average. Baker's playing great despite the injuries, so I think Baker, no matter what the defense is, can put up points, it feels like. So I think this will be a high-scoring game. However, I just trust the Niners a little bit more, especially with McCaffrey coming back. So I'm going to go Niners 30-27 over the Buccaneers. Now we have Steelers Commanders. This is an interesting one. Steelers 6-2 coming off of a bye. Commanders 7-2 coming off of a Marshawn Lattimore trade, as previously mentioned. Steelers are 3-point underdogs. I think this could actually be a very good game. I think this could be a very relatively high-scoring game, despite two very good defenses. I think it's going to come down to the defenses because Commanders have the third best offense in football and the Steelers have the 13th. I think it's just going to come down to which defense can contain which offense better. I think I trust the Steelers' defense more than the Commanders' defense, The Commanders were in a close one versus the Giants. Steelers coming off a bye. I'm going to go Pittsburgh here, 28-27 over the Washington Commanders. Titans-Chargers. Now, this one I don't think will be as close as the Steelers-Commanders game. Chargers 5-3, 7.5-point favorites over the 2-6 Titans. Titans just haven't looked good this year. Their defense, especially their pass defense, has been very good. So I don't think Herbert will necessarily have as successful as a game as he did versus Cleveland and even like Arizona a few weeks back. But the Chargers do have that good run game, which is the Titans' weakness, although they're still a good run defense. And I think the Chargers' defense is just, they're still the number one scoring defense, and I think the Titans' offense just won't be able to do much. And I don't think the Chargers will have to do much offensively, so I have them winning 24-13, and this will be my lock of the week. Next is Jets-Cardinals. Jets coming off of a big win over the Texans to get them to 3-6. Cardinals coming off of a big win over the Bears to get them above 500, and I believe first place in the NFC West at 5-4. Only 1-point favorites going to this one, so expected to be a close one. Cardinals about middle of the pack in terms of just teams, even though they're slightly above that. They've played very well recently. Their defense has actually been playing much better than I personally thought they would be. And then their offense has still been, it's been a little up and down, especially with, the rookie Marvin Harrison. But Kyler's been pretty consistent throughout the year. Trey McBride, James Conner. I know the Jets have a very good defense. However, I think the Cardinals' offense is currently a little bit better than the Texans that game, considering the injuries the Texans had. And I'm going to go actually with the Cardinals winning this one 24-21 over the Jets. Now we get a little NFC East matchup. Normally this game would be very exciting between the Eagles and Cowboys. However, the Eagles are 6-2, and the Cowboys are now without Dak Prescott and sitting at 3-5. Eagles big favorites in this one, 7.5 points. In a game that would be normally highly anticipated is probably not so much. Eagles are playing, at least recently, like one of the better teams in football. Saquon playing like a top 2 running back. A.J. Brown's playing great. Devonta Smith, Hurts obviously. And the defense has played good too, so I just don't see the Cowboys having much of a chance in this one. Looking back at the score I probably had the Cowboys scoring too many points, but maybe those are garbage time points. I have the Eagles winning 34-24 over the Cowboys. Now we get our Sunday night game, which is between the Detroit Lions at 7-1 and the 6-3 Texans. Lions coming in 3-point favorites. Probably a lot to do with the respect for the Texans record, even though recently they haven't looked great, mainly because of the injuries dealt to like Nico Collins and the O-line. They are supposed to get Nico Collins back, so I do think the Texans will play so much better than they did versus the Jets, because Nico Collins just makes Stroud's life so much easier, as expected. So I do think this is a much closer game. However, I'm going to go Lions in this one, 30-27 over the Texans. Lastly, we have our Monday night game between the Dolphins and the Rams. Dolphins offense has looked a lot better ever since getting Tua back. It looks like an offense. However, the Rams have also looked like a much better offense since they've gotten healthy with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua being back. So I do think this will be a good game. I think it will be a high-scoring game, as both teams have about average defenses, but both very capable offenses. However, I don't know why, but I'm feeling the Miami Dolphins pulling off a slight 28-27 win over the Los Angeles Rams. And that will officially conclude our Week 10 predictions for the 2024 season. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and also comment down below what your thoughts and some of your predictions as well. And if you want to see more content over here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.